Okay, well, our group name is the Egalitarian Alliance, just like in our last presentation, because we feel that the issues that we're going over are helping to, through our research, are helping to combat inequality, and maybe, you know, it'll open up our minds and we'll realize that women are capable of many of the things, if not all the things that men can do. And basically this presentation focuses on the women in war. Daryl focused on the women in the past wars and the things that they had to overcome, and I focused on the things in the present wars and some of the issues that they're facing today.
Okay, so basically we started off with the women's efforts from the Civil War to World War II. Okay, now because my research was on past women, I started off with the Civil War, and the first woman I found was, let's see, one woman who participated in the American Civil War was Anna Etheridge. Annie was known to shout words of encouragement that inspired the men to fight on and win. Now, Anna was a nurse, and Vivian Deere are referred to as a daughter of the regiment, and basically she was a person who could be acting as a nurse, helping the wounded, and also like helping with wares, like in the daily day-to-day life of living, and helping them with equipment and stuff. But Anna was very well known because of her bravery and patriotism that she showed on the battlefield. She was often involved in bloody engagements as bullets were flying. She had holes in her clothing because she didn't care about her personal safety. She was more trying to help out with what was going on, what she believed in. So that was Anna. That was the first woman. So then I move on to the next woman. During this time, women were not permitted to enlist for battle. Some women went as far as to disguise themselves as men just so they could enlist. And one such woman was Sarah Emma Edmonds. Now, this person, Sarah Edmonds, wanted to go above and beyond. She didn't want to just help as a nurse. She wanted to do more. She wanted to fight on the front lines with the men, but she couldn't. She wasn't allowed. She was the gender role where woman, it's not for you. It's not your place. But she didn't believe in that. She believed in what she wanted to do was show her bravery and patriotism. So she did what she did. She dressed up as a man, and she not only went that far, she also went into enemy lines. She dressed up as an English washerwoman. She dressed up as a Southern gentleman, often going into the Confederate territory and pulling out information that what they were planning. So she was very brave, and she showed what she could do many times, even though she wasn't allowed to do that. So not only did she show bravery to dress up as a man and face confrontation from the men that she was fighting with, but she also went into the enemy territory and as a spy and got numerous times and different disguises just so she can get the information to help her team. So later on, she does receive an award. I can't remember what the award was, but and then she also did get money for her participation, government pension. Next. Okay, now women's efforts in the World War I. Okay, now at this time it was still not permitted for them to help or to fight on the front lines. So another woman I found was Dorothy Lawrence. She was basically an English reporter who also dressed up like a man so she can fight, so she can report on the front lines. Now at this time, in her time period, it wasn't easy for a man to become a reporter on the front lines. So she was able to do that as a interesting. Now, another woman who would disguise herself as a man would be Olga Krasilnikov in 1915. 19-year-old Olga Krasilnikov, disguised as a young man, served in the Russian army on the Eastern Front in 19 battles before she was seriously wounded and sent back to Moscow. So there's another woman, dressing as men, so they can prove that they are brave and patriotic and going above and beyond. Okay, now the last, the World War II, women's efforts in World War II. Now, in this World War II, women were allowed to enlist in battle. Now, at the same time, they were also filling the gap of the male-dominated workforce, as you may know. So, women were proving that they could do the jobs of men on home and on the battlefield, which is pretty amazing, right? So, two notable women in World War II were Violet Szabo and Odette Churchill, who were not Americans, but they were notable, and they served as spies and were both captured and tortured. Violet was murdered by the Gestapo while Odette survived. Now, these are only a few of the women who proved their bravery, patriotism, and honor Nemo Mountains.
Okay, and I focused my research and my presentation on the present struggles of women in war. The first problem these women are encountering is that they're arguably witnessing a historic amount of violence, despite the fact that most women are usually restricted to only support roles. The other more appalling issue that females in the military are dealing with is the all too common presence of sexual abuse in the military. These two issues are causing staggeringly high numbers of PTSD in women. And my title there says "Women plus Violence equals PTSD." So basically, I'm asking the question: is it the violence that's causing the PTSD, or is it something else? And basically, you never really hear about women, being involved in the fighting and stuff like that. You think more of the men, but the fact is that these women are participating in the combat, whether their title is a support-only title, or whether because they can't actually have an official combat title, but they are actually present in the battles. And the presence of IEDs and constant threat of ambushes have blurred this distinction of what a frontline is, while at the same time women are serving as medics, military police, intelligence officers, and other support positions have nonetheless been caught in the thick of the battle. More than 800 female service members have been wounded in either Afghanistan or Iraq, and at least 139 have died from combat and non-combat related incidents. So basically, 800 female service members have been wounded. I mean, you're not going to get wounded if you're not in a combat situation. I mean, if you're wounded, you're on the front lines, in my opinion. There's a recent Marine Corps policy change from the Pentagon that is taking the first step towards integrating women into war-fighting units. And basically, the policy is they're trying to integrate women into the infantry officer school and integrate them into combat battalions. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, I wouldn't really say that it's a problem. So they're beginning to get more recognition in the military, and they're starting to prove that they can serve with the men. And it's going to lead to more PTSD, but it's not really a bad thing. Okay, now to the second issue, which is the sexual abuse in the military. And pretty much the statistics can pretty much speak for themselves. I mean, they're pretty unbalanced. It's kind of shocking whenever I research all of this to find all this information out. And basically, a 2003 report financed by the Department of Defense revealed that nearly 1/3 of a nationwide sample of female veterans seeking health care through the VA said they experienced rape or attempted rape during their service. And pretty much throughout all my research, I mean that 1/3 or 33% of women experiencing rape has pretty much been parallel through the different time periods, through different wars. I mean, it's pretty much, 2,028 investigations of military sexual assault charges completed in 2004 and 2005. Only 329 of them resulted in a court-martial of the perpetrator. And pretty much all the stories that I researched, a lot of times the perpetrators were just slapped on the wrist. I even read one story where it said that the person convicted of doing the rape was just given a letter. It was just basically a letter saying, saying that his behavior was bad, and they didn't do anything more than that. And so, the Department of Defense estimated 2009 annual report on sexual assault that around 90% of rapes in the military are never reported. And basically the common thought out there is, well, nothing's going to be done about it, so why should I even report it? And basically in all the stories, that's pretty parallel. And there was a story that of Amarita Randall. She served in the Navy. She was raped by a superior officer, and she said, "I don't know how to explain it. You just don't expect anything to be done about it anyway, so why even try?" That's pretty much what most of these women that get raped think. Military sexual trauma is the leading cause of PTSD among women veterans, while combat trauma is the leading cause of PTSD among men. So basically the statistics show that between 10 and 20% of the veterans suffer from PTSD. And think about how much less women would be suffering from it if they did something to help eliminate the sexual abuse in the military. And basically, it says 71% of women with PTSD, the cause of it being MST, or military sexual trauma. So, that would help eliminate that a lot, and they wouldn't be suffering from, pretty much an unneeded disease, caused by MST. The military has already shown that it is incapable of properly handling the situation from within. There's actually a bill that's trying to get passed called the Sexual Assault Training Oversight and Prevention Act, or the STOP Act. And basically, they're trying to move the decision to investigate and prosecute completely out of the military to put it under civilian control. I think that would be, the best thing to try and combat, what's happening in the military, just because there's kind of a conflict of interest with the military, because basically they don't want it to be known, because then people are going to look at it different. Nobody's going to want to join the military. And basically there was a story that I read, and I don't remember the woman's name, but she was in the Navy for 17 years, and she was raped, and she reported it, and she was 3 years from retirement. And basically, because of her rape, she developed depression, and she was diagnosed with depression. And because of her diagnosis, they did not give her her pension, and they discharged her from the military. And that type of depression that she had, it said that it's treatable, and usually within 6 months, the person recovers. So they would kind of rather, get rid of the women that are complaining and kind of, shove it under the blanket than really do anything about it.
Okay, I want to add one last thing to this presentation of ours, is that this information that we have shared as a group is very interesting in the fact that it is, for me, unknown. I had no idea that the women were, that women participated in battles of the past, that they went through these efforts to participate. Not only that, what I didn't know about was the invisible war that women are being, how they're treated. I had no idea. All this stuff was hidden, and it's like, wow, I'm 36 years old, and I'm just now finding out about this. Well, I enjoyed my research and doing the work and learning about all of this, and I look forward to learning more about it. And I have no problem in sharing my thoughts with the public about what I have learned, and the fact that equality is true, and it should be something that we should all be able to say, yes, we are equal. Men and women are equal. I'm a man, and I don't believe in dominating over women. Okay, so I just want to say that I believe in equality, and I don't have any problem in